It's really interesting to me, this idea that love is the answer. For many of us in the LGBTQ plus community, that was our cry, right? Love is love. Love is the answer. And my emotion is coming up because I truly, I'm supposed to hold the high watch, right, for the world. And I truly was shocked when the Respect for Marriage Act passed so easily. And if you don't know what the Respect for Marriage Act is, it's where finally LGBTQ plus and interracial couples can legally get married in the United States. And a decade ago, that would have not been possible. Can you all breathe into that with me? A decade ago, it was a battlefield. And it was just, there it is. And this is the power of love. This is what love has the power to do and to be, a force for change, a force for transformation that actually, truly makes this a world that works for everyone. So as we're looking at Advent, I want you to think about how all of Advent is inviting us to grow. So we're starting with faith, which is the center of it all. We have peace, which arises from our faith. And then from that place of inner peace, we can show up in the world as love, and we can show up for ourselves as love. Now, while I like my little nifty little graphic that I did, it also sort of makes it look as if things are contained. So the image that really came to mind for me is a spiral. That we're spiraling from whatever that centered space of yourself is, which is actually limitless in the understanding, but that's where our faith is arising from. And we are allowing ourselves to grow in our understanding of who we are so that we can actually be the Christ, the Buddha, the I am, the isness in time and in space. So Charles Fillmore describes love this way: love joins and binds together the universe. Love is a harmonizing, constructive power. That's very different from how most of us understand love, right? Most of us understand love as an emotional state. We understand love as something that we feel. And what's so powerful about Unity's understanding of love is that it's great that you feel love. It's not that you can't feel love, but it's that feeling of love is actually arising from an innate power of love that you actually are. You are always love. It is your birthright. It is in your DNA. It is the very breath that you are breathing. It is the very life that you are being called to live. And the question is, do you know it? Do you know that you are love? And do you know that every single individual that you meet, especially the people that really bug you, that they are also love? That's why we're here. We're here to be love and to be loving. Like, it's to be loved and to be loving. We are here to be that for each other. So Advent is allowing us to move out of our internal existence, faith, peace. And as we come to this week of Advent, we are being invited to interact with the world. We are being invited to get off of our cushion. I love my cushion. But we're being invited to get off of the cushion. And how are we going to actually be in the world as love? And that is the true practice. Because it truly is how we're going to change the world. It is the love that we show up as, not the hate, not the anger, not the frustration. It's the love that we show up as. When I think about the couples that were part of the Supreme Court case that moved through. A decade. They were putting cases in front of the state level and then, moving it through the Supreme Court. They could not have withstood that if it was only anger that was fueling them. They could not have maintained their passion and their commitment if it was only arising from a place of frustration and annoyance. What enabled them to do that, any of our great movers and shakers in the world, what enables them to stay the distance is that it's all coming from a place of love. And when we're coming from a place of love, we are nourished and fed and resourced and renewed. It's one of the ways you can tell whether or not you are aligned with the love that you are, or whether you're aligned with the ego that you think you are. If you find yourself getting drained, if you find yourself getting exhausted, if you find that you are not being fed, then you need to take a breath and step into this time right now with real clear intention and consciousness. Because that's what I love about this season, is that we get to focus on something together as a community. And what we do together as a community is amplified. It's exponential. So Rumi says that love is the bridge between you and everything. I love this. It is the bridge between you and everything. And for me, that means that it's the bridge between me and me, too. Right? Love is the bridge between me, and love is the bridge between me and everything else. And how often do we actually take the time to really love ourselves? Not on a superficial level. I was talking to somebody the other day, and they were saying, with honesty, like a bubble bath is not going to do it. Right? And they're right, right? A bubble bath isn't going to do it. We're talking about a deeper kind of love. We're talking about a nourishing of our soul, a nourishing of our awareness of who we truly are. And so there's a difference between self-care and self-protection. Because what happens a lot of times is that we equate love with our emotion of love, and so we don't want our heart to get hurt. We don't want to feel vulnerable. And so we put up blocks, whether it's in what we think we're capable of accomplishing or what we think it is that we're capable of stepping into. Now, sometimes boundaries are awesome because they really are about self-care. This is my boundary, and I honor it, and that is an act of love. And sometimes we use those boundaries as a way to keep ourselves safe and to play small, and that we are not willing to actually step into that larger understanding of who we are. How many people in here have experienced some sort of messed up thing in their life, right? And discovered on the other end of it how much more resource they had than what they thought they had before that mess came into their life? How many people have experienced that? There we go, right? So can we see all of that as love? And can we open up our hearts, open up ourselves to show up in a different way? And I think that this is particularly poignant right now as we're coming out of COVID, and we're all, we've spent 2.5 years hibernating. We spent 2.5 years in our bubbles. We've spent 2.5 years being very careful about how we interacted with the world. And I am not telling you to be irresponsible with your health, but I am asking you in consciousness to be willing to break free from whatever that habit is, because it's a habit now. And we have to consciously shift in a different way to break out of that habit so that we can be connected with each other and with the world. So my litmus test for whether or not I am actually in self-care with really good boundaries that are an act of love, or whether I am in self-protection, is to ask myself, am I growing smaller or am I growing larger? Does it make me feel expansive? Then that's where I know that I want to step into. Does whatever decision I'm making make me feel small? Then that's something I want to take a look at and say, why am I playing small? It does not serve the world for you to play small. It does not serve you for you to play small. We need you. We need all of you. We need all of your brilliance, all of your love, all of your compassion. Take a look at what's happening in our world right now. We need love, but not love that's like airy-fairy. We need love that is concrete, that is like hands and feet and voice of God love. And that asks us to step out in a way that perhaps makes us very uncomfortable, because people are going to rub up against us, and they're going to be annoying. I can tell you that right now. Just accept that, right? Just accept that that's part of the equation, and then breathe into it. How can we actually show up as love? Because giving is receiving. When we give love, we're actually opening ourselves up to receive love. And I know that that sounds like such a cliche, but it's really, really true. That the more that we give, the more that we can receive. If we are giving X amount, then we are only open to the amount to receive that much back. But if we are giving freely, extravagantly, then we are open to receiving just as freely and just as extravagantly. So this is from Khalil Gibran. Go to your fields and your gardens, and you shall learn that it is the pleasure of the bee to gather honey of the flower. But it is also the pleasure of the flower to yield its honey to the bee. For to the bee, a flower is a fountain of life, and to the flower, a bee is a messenger of love. And to both, bee and flower, the giving and the receiving of pleasure is a need and an ecstasy. Don't we love that? And can you feel how aligned that is? It's a need. We need to be loved and to be loved. It's built into us. And so that also fuels the ecstasy. And if we shut ourselves off from that, we are limiting our own experience of love. And the planet is at a deficit. And I honestly think that this is something as a spiritual community that we get to model for the world. I do not believe that we are going to solve the world's ills through cognitive, scientific anything if it's not underpinned with love. That is the thing, that is the engine that is going to drive everything that is about transformation and change on this planet. Amen. Can I get an amen? So, this season of Advent is an opportunity for you to sit with how are you being mingy with your love? Are you being a Scrooge with your love? Are you doing it to yourself? Are you being Scrooge-ish with the world? And how can you actually open that up? What are some concrete steps you can do for yourself that are more aligned than just taking a bubble bath? And don't get me wrong, I love my bubble baths. But maybe it's about picking up the phone and making a call. Maybe it's about reaching out to somebody who you haven't seen in a while. Maybe it's about dropping off some cookies, uninvited, just dropping off some cookies with a little note that says, "Thank you for being my neighbor." How can you concretely engage with being love on this planet? So I'm going to take this into a time of meditation, so I'm going to invite Carolyn and Chuck to come on up and support us. And I'm going to invite you to just, whatever got stirred up, right? To let that stay stirred up. And we're going to listen. We're going to listen to how we are invited to be both the flower and the bee. Now, we are both the flower and the bee. So take a breath.
All the colors of the rainbow, all the voices of the wind, every dream that reaches out to find where love begins.
Every simple act of mercy, every step to kingdom come, all the hope in every heart will speak what love has done. For as long as I shall live, I will testify to love. I'll be a witness in the silence when the words are not enough. With every breath I take, I'll give thanks for all this love. For as long as I shall live, I will testify to love.
So we breathe into this space, this place, willing to testify to love right here, right now. The love that is deeper, truer than just the emotional experience of love. So I'm going to invite everyone to just feel the emotion of love right now. Maybe call to mind someone who you love. Just allow that emotion to fill your awareness. Feeling that, allow your heart to soften. Any defenses, any resistance, just with love, gently, 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 be willing to let it fall away. And then go just a little deeper. What's underneath the emotion? What is that harmonizing power of love? What does that feel like, look like in your beingness? Just feeling into just how spacious we actually are. The ease, the grace, the lightness of being that love is. And feeling how wide it is and how deep it is. And that it truly can hold anything and everything. So just lay your burdens down, lay down whatever you're carrying. Just allow love to anoint, to touch, to heal. Just recognizing that as you are being love for yourself, that is the invitation for you to be for the whole world. So that you are both the bee and the flower, that you are giving and receiving. So let's rest together here for a minute in the silence as we are love right now. how good it is to rest in this space, this place. That is our true nature and our true name, love. I am love. Just say that to yourself. I am love. I am loving. Everything that we need to show up in this world as an agent of love for ourselves, for each other, we have. We truly are called to testify to love.
For as long as I shall live, I will testify to love. I'll be a witness in the silence when the words are not enough. With every breath I take, I'll give thanks for all this love. For as long as I shall live, I will testify to love.
And so it is. Amen. Ashe. Thank you, you two. So could you feel how it's easier to love yourself when you know love is you? Right? It's easier to love myself when I know love is myself, my larger self. And we cannot give what we do not know. So our practice is to love ourself, to know ourself as love so that we can give that freely and receive that freely. Think of it as the best Christmas, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa gift ever, right? This love that you get to give and receive simultaneously. So I'm going to leave you with one final quote. Do not be dismayed by the brokenness of the world. All things break, and all things can be mended. Not with time, as they say, but with intention. So go, love intentionally, extravagantly, unconditionally. The broken world waits in darkness for the light that is in you. And I'm going to change that last line, because you know me, I can't. The broken world waits in darkness for the light that is you, that you actually are. So let's know our Advent affirmation together, shall we? On this day of Advent, I see love, I breathe love, and I am love. And so it is. Amen. Ashe.